On behalf of the Minister of Education and Culture, I would like to share with the members of the press and with you, the listening audience, the program for the St. Martin's Day celebration, which is next week, Wednesday, November 11th. The theme for this year's St. Martin's Day is, though culturally diverse, St. Martin's unity comes first. And the activity that has been organized by the Ministry of Culture, Education, Youth and Culture starts off on Wednesday, November 11th, when the St. Martin Day festivities are being organized with a wonderful balance of many activities for all, aimed at reunifying our communities and awakening our national pride. The traditional wreath-laying ceremony will take place at 8 a.m. at the border, the Coal Bay Border Monument in Coal Bay. There, the dignitaries from both Dutch and French side will be laying wreaths. And then at 9 a.m., the delegation will proceed with invited guests to the official church service at the Methodist Church on Front Street in Phillipsburg. That is at 9 a.m. At 10 a.m., the Uniformed Troops Parade will begin at Longwell Road. The public will be able to view the parade as it makes its way up Front Street to the Cyrus Watty Square for the official salute, and then continue on to the Clem Labega Square. That is at 10 o'clock. The Uniformed Troops Parade will start at the Longwell Road. At 11 a.m. on Wednesday, November 11th, the official speeches will take place in front of the courthouse on the Cyrus Watty Square. After all the speeches, there will be an official toast, which will end the official ceremonies. At 12 p.m. until 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, the fancy fair will take place at the Clem Labega Square in front of the government building. This entails games, rides, confectionaries, flea market, entertainment, bouncers, and more for some good family fun. Vendors who are interested can still call for a space at the fancy fair by calling 5421470. I repeat, those who are interested in a space at the fancy fair on November 11th on the Clem Labega Square in front of the government building can still call at 5421470. Between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m., there will be the traditional St. Martin sports activities at the Boardwalk Promenade. It will turn into an avenue of traditional St. Martin sports activities with old-time games like lime and spoon, tug of war, three-legged race, as well as beach volleyball that will be open for public. So all are invited to dress to participate. That is from 12 to 3 p.m. on the boardwalk. At 12 p.m., there will be a domino competition to be held at the Festival Village. And at 1 p.m., the St. Martin annual old-time boat race will begin from in front of Tallulah Mango Restaurant on the boardwalk. That's at 1 p.m. At 2 p.m., the kite flying competition will begin at the lot behind the Little League Stadium on the Pondville. All local primary schools receive an invitation to make their kites from scratch and will be able to showcase who can make the best kite, which must be able to fly in order to qualify for one of the prizes, which would be in the category of most colorful, most creative, and the best flight. At 3 p.m., the cultural parade will begin. All are invited to come out with your family to see this beautiful and meaningful cultural parade. The route will be starting at One Cheruskin Boulevard by Sang Supermarket, it's on Point Blanche, over the bridge, onto the Emma Plain, passing in front of Jump Up Casino, then down Canigita Street, turning right at Tamarind Steak by the Vromy Building, right again, then up to the W.A. Nisbet Road, and finally at the roundabout turning onto the Swaliga Boulevard, ending at the Festival Village. So pay attention to the route to have your family in the right place to see this beautiful and meaningful cultural parade. After the parade, we can all find a spot at the festival village to enjoy local foods, drinks, snacks, and local performances as we go into the evening celebrating the unification of our people. The festival village will be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., where I'm sure you all will be able to enjoy local dishes and also enjoy good company with old friends you probably haven't seen in a while. Information and forms for booth registration at the village can be obtained at the office of the Festival Village from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That is the calendar of events for the St. Martin Day celebration next week, Wednesday, November the 11th. And on behalf of the Minister of Education, Culture and Youth, we kindly invite you to participate as much as possible and to come out to the activities. At this time, I'd like to give the word to the Minister of Justice or any other minister who wants to have something to share at this moment until I come back in the next round.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This week we saw the fulfillment of a project started in March last year by Minister Clarence Corrin. That is the return, let me see, wait a minute. Yeah, hello? Yeah, it's the return of the TUI flight from Holland. This is a twice weekly flight. And with it, it's the first Dreamliner to St. Martin. And with it, it brought 138 travel agents to St. Martin. And for the 2 days, they were exploring our island to see how best they'll be able to sell it in Holland. This flight comes at a time when our occupancy in Europe is a bit low at this moment. So it will help to boost our tourism from Europe. Now, that's basically all that I have for this time.
Okay. I wanted to at this press conference also share with you a very important decision that, in our opinion, that the Council of Ministers took on the 27th. As is known, the issue of the FBO building at the airport, the issuing of the building permit has been reported very much in the local media over the last couple of months. And the question has been, what has this government done with the requests for this building permit to build a fixed base operation building at Juliana Airport? It is so that I don't want to go back too much into details about the whole issue, but as known, this government only received the request correctly and properly prepared sometime in May this month. We have on 2 occasions forwarded letters to the airport authorities requesting some additional information and questions that the government had. We did receive part of those questions and still awaiting some answers on a second letter that we sent. And I should say on not a second, but the last letter we sent, because we did receive on the second. And in the meantime, the government, the Council of Ministers, the request for the building permit was sent to the Council of Ministers for further handling. And in the Council of Ministers, a decision was taken on the 27th of October. And it says the decisions basically says to request the Minister of Romy to hold off on issuing a building permit for the FBO building. Number 1, to read it out, any decision on issuing a building permit, I withhold awaiting the outcome of an advice of 3 independent engineering bureaus that to be requested on the building costs as submitted by the airport. The timeline to receive these advice is within 30 days. In other words, the council ministers would like for the Minister of Romy to request from 3 independent engineering bureaus the advice on the building costs as submitted by the airport. You will recall the building is a building of 1,000 square meter, and in the request for a building permit, the price of 10 million guilders for that building was mentioned, $6 million. And additionally, the tenants will have to each pay $1 million to prepare the interior of the buildings. So if you add it all up, it's a building that's going to cost some $8 million. And the council ministers felt it is important to get some independent advice on the pricing, the building costs of that building as was submitted by the relevant airport authorities. Another point we want to touch on this morning is the preparations for elections. As you know, there has been a resolution duly and correctly signed by the governor and countersigned by the prime minister, and also published in the National Gazette. That after the first resolution was made up and published, a small error of a change of one date was oversight was discovered. In the meantime, the corrected resolution Landsbesluit has been issued and has also been published in the National Gazette. Subsequently, the dates have been amended for certain actions to take place, and I can inform you that according to the relevant changes, the registration of political parties by the Electoral Council now, I've been informed, will have to take place on the 9th of November, 2015, and thereafter the process will be started of the necessary preparations for new parties by the Electoral Council. We had a meeting with the Census Office together with Judicial Affairs and the Ministry of General Affairs in the preparation of the elections. Census Office has started the process of getting the manpower in place and also the relevant information of ordering the voting material for the voting cards, et cetera, et cetera. The voters registry will be closed off officially on the 23rd of November, but considering Article 133 of the voting ordinance, that the official closing date is the 22nd, but taking into consideration it's on a Sunday, the 23rd of November 2015 will be the closing of the voters registry. The appointment of the Central Bureau, Central Voting Bureau, will also take place on the same day, which is the 23rd, because the 22nd is a Sunday. After, the voters will have the rights to approach the court to add their name on the voters registry. On the postulation day is the 22nd of December 2015. The support of the candidates list, we have been informed, will start on the 23rd of December, the day after. And to go down the line, the election is scheduled for the 9th of February 2016. The other information is basically the dates according to the dry book, the plan of action, that is basically standard, taking in consideration the timing and the laws that regulates the timing of the election and also of the electoral law. The Parliament, the first session of the new Parliament is expected to be on the 14th of March 2016, and that will also be the official date that the present Parliament will be dissolved. I think I'll hold it for there, and any other ministers have something to add or any more questions? Oh, let me add another important point. Apologies for that. We have we have asked for a detailed budget on the elections, where it concerns to give you an idea. I've been informed in the total package, which means also the payment of staff members of the voting bureau, all the cleaning matters, the preparations, down to the provisioning of the voting bureaus. In 2014, the cost was 289,000 guilders, 289,518 guilders, and we have put the final budget together, taking into consideration provisioning, estimates, cleaning, rental of the voting bureaus, the total package, the voting cards, ballots, transportation, appliances, everything is estimated now to be some 229,763 guilders. That is the budget for election 2016, as has been presented by the organization responsible for organizing the election, which is the Census Office. Just wanted to add that to the total package.
Parade. I'm here at St. Maarten Arts and Crafts Center, where the beautiful costumes for our cultural parade are being made. Only just a touch of those costumes you can see. So I invite you to come out. Come out and enjoy our culture, our St. Maarten culture.
I have, with the blessing of the Council of Ministers, I think some 2 weeks ago, authorized the SZV to continue the discussions with FAMET and the other partners in the tripartite, hoping that this would lead to the commencement of what we would then be enjoying, maybe a new hospital. Many years we have been talking about this, and because of the different changes in government, every time we are starting over and everybody wants to do it different and work with a different party, I think it was best to take it directly out of the hands of the government. The government is not, in my opinion, in the construction business or in the hospital business, and put it in the hands of the experts, naturally overseen by government, because in the end, government bears a responsibility. So that has been done. The SZV has been authorized to continue together with the medical center and the VSA. And as the financial controller of the Ministry of VSA has been the one assigned to work along with these groups to make sure that things go as they should. Unfortunately, I was not able to finalize the ordinance on the AOV, age, I think from 60 to 62. I think this is regrettable, it is serious for many reasons, not only because this is also one of those things mentioned in the instruction that was given, But it's also for us. It is also for the health of the SFV and the guarantee of continuation of payments to our seniors when they reach that age. I think this is the last thing that should have been caught up in politics. But unfortunately, I have no control over that. Staying in the healthcare, I saw in the media that from the Honorable MP, Leona Marlin, that question was asked about the neonatal screening and why that is not done. And I read that the questions that to date the MP, the Honorable MP, did not receive any answers to those questions. I'd just like to know that my ministry sent out the answers to Parliament on the 28th of October, in which those questions that were addressed by the MP, or asked by the MP, were addressed. The public health ordinance is right now at Parliament. And the neonatal screening, the intention to get that done was to have it included in that healthcare ordinance. The time factor did not allow the changes to be made that way. The departments involved have been in discussions and collaboration with the Dutch experts who were here dealing with the same topic at the Best Islands. I also met briefly with them. We are basically ready on St. Maarten to be able to start that. However, we need the legislation to do so. And the proposal would have been, if it had been possible to discuss that in Parliament, was to ask Parliament to make an amendment to that public health ordinance to include this. We are still doing that. We are still preparing a amendment proposal that we would send to Parliament, and hopefully when the next minister takes office, that this would be given the priority that it deserves. I would like to then go over a bit to labor, because at that time I mentioned also that my intention was to index the minimum wage. This has been done. The decree has been signed by me, and it was sent on to be published in the National Gazette. So that is a confirmation of what I said back then. What is very important, which I mentioned also back then, is a joint venture in collaboration with the Minister of Justice. And this is a project that has been running now for at least 2 years. And it is an amendment of the Civil Code as far as the labor component of that is concerned. It's a technical amendment. It facilitates the reading and understanding of the Civil Code as far as labor is concerned. It brings our Civil Code in line with the most modern ones, labor, compared to the Netherlands and Aruba. We will be having a new Title 10, which would dedicate solely to labor. So it would be easy. You go to the Civil Code and you go to Book 7, Title 10, and you have everything that is labor there. What is even more important is that the topics that are addressed are topics that for many, many, many years have been discussed and debated on St. Maarten, like the regulating of the abuse of the short-term labor agreement, the transfer of enterprise. The transfer of enterprise, I'm sure we all would remember the Pelican situation. St. Maarten went berserk on the idea of what happened. The company was bought over or taken over, and from one day to the other, 182 people were out of a job. That was a reality. We said that this would never or should never ever happen again. if this ordinance is approved, we guarantee that it will never happen again, because that stipulation, as it is in the Netherlands, is put in there. We regulated maternity leave better for the private sector, for everyone. And in that, we included the possibility for breastfeeding on the job in that law, and also equal treatment for men and women on the job. I know with all of this political turmoil, the terms are corruption, motions of no confidence, and who should go home and who should not go home. And while this was all happening, and I've been a vivid part of it, I wanted to make sure that this particular legislation, which I challenge any MP to vote against, goes to Parliament, where it will be debated, because if we all talking that we are working for the people of St. Maarten, I can't think of a better piece of legislation to prove that. It would be on the desk of the Chair of Parliament soon, and I am very anxiously awaiting the debate on that, and feel very sorry that I would not be the minister defending this piece of legislation. Another point I would just like to briefly clarify is a very controversial issue, and I thought twice before whether I should touch it or not touch it, and that is the situation with the counterpart legislation. But I think clarity is needed, and in all fairness to the public, and especially the working public, we should put the correct information out there as to what we are talking about. I definitely do not want to get caught up in the political disputes pertaining to the counterpart legislation, but I think it is necessary just to give a short historical background of the counterpart, because sometimes I think we are talking about different things when we mention it.